I used to be a liberal. Then I wised up. Now I'm a libertarian. But a lot of people say, what does that mean? What's a libertarian?
I don't know.
I've never heard about that.
A libertarian? A librarian that maybe takes too many liberties?
He's probably thinking of libertine. Still, aren't libertarians in favor of free love, drug use, things like that? Well, no, actually. We just think government should leave these people alone. A few celebrities say they're libertarians.
Being a libertarian, I do believe that limited government is good.
You're a libertarian, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
A few people at Fox say they're libertarians.
I'm a libertarian.
I'm a libertarian.
Which brings us back to, what does the word mean?
To be a libertarian means that you can do what you want as long as you don't harm other people.
Okay, so...
What do libertarians say about abortion?
I think a libertarian would be in favor of abortion because they would be in favor of us having personal liberties.
But what about his personal liberty?
What about carrying guns?
Libertarian believes that we should all carry guns.
All of us? Really?
What do libertarians say about gay marriage?
Libertarian says it's absolutely fine. It's not harming anyone else. If two people willingly want to go into a relationship, that's absolutely fine.
Some people say libertarians are...
anti-government.
But wait a second.
Our founding fathers, of course, were libertarians.
That's true. So our topic for today, what does it mean to be a libertarian?
And now, the man who shatters conventional wisdom, John Stossel.
Well, I'm proud to say it that I'm a libertarian, but what does it mean? Half the people we asked had no clue. Most everyone knows what conservatives are. Conservatives are stuffy old white people. No, that's not fair. Conservative generally wants to conserve traditional values. They're anti-abortion, pro-gun. They say they're for limited government, but they're pro-drug war and favor some other wars. They tend to believe in nation building. Liberal. What's that mean? Well, liberals are scruffy hippies. No, that's not fair either. Liberals are less concerned with traditional values. Most are anti-gun, pro-abortion choice, anti-war, and in favor of a big, powerful government that's supposed to make life gentler and kinder for people. I used to be one of those liberals. In college, I was taught that government would solve poverty if we just allow the wise planners in Washington to take enough money from those rich people so government could work its magic. I believed. Then, as a reporter, I watched the planners try to do that. Their magic didn't work. They made life worse, bogged us down in bureaucracy, wasted billions, took away freedom. That's when I became a libertarian. Now, our first two guests tonight are smarter than I. It took me 30 years to figure it out, but P.J. O'Rourke and Andrew Napolitano caught on much more quickly. P.J. O'Rourke is a best-selling author whose books like Eat the Rich are wonderful introductions to the foolishness of big government. I've stolen parts of his books and adapted them into my TV special, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
For that. Fox News judicial analyst Andrew Napolitano used to be a judge. Something about being a judge made you a libertarian?
You're watching what the government tried to get away with in the courtroom. And realizing that almost every time government lawyers came into the courtroom, their arguments were not to enforce the Constitution, but to permit the government to evade or avoid it.
Well, the Constitution is this I happen to have one here, actually. Is this narrow document. At the time, there was slavery. I mean, now we have much more money. We have all kinds of ways to help people.
Well, the Constitution was written in good times and in bad. It codifies the natural rights that individuals have that come from our existence as people. They don't come from the government. And it confines the government, as Jefferson said, chains it down, as Justice William O. Douglas said, to keep the government off the backs of the people. That's the way it's supposed to work. But when government lawyers... When government lawyers persuade prosecutors in black robes, otherwise known as judges, that the government should be able to get away with whatever it wants in the name of safety or convenience or central planning, then the Constitution doesn't work.
I'd say we had a chain shortage. Need to get that government chain back down a little tighter. It's got loose.
Why? Aren't pollution control rules good? They're not in the Constitution.
I leave that to the lawyer here, but I'd be sure that there are all sorts of wonderful rules that you can make. Those of us who have children are forever making wonderful rules. No wee before your homework is done, etc. You know, it isn't a matter of so much of the rules you make as of the way you enforce them. You know, if I enforce the wee rule with I don't know, limitations on dessert and candy, if I enforce it with a coat hanger, it's another matter. And then it's also a matter of whether the rules have any relationship to reality. I mean, you could forbid, as there were kids I grew up with whose parents went to very strict churches, no makeup, no dancing, no rock and roll, no. Well, now for all I know, that's right. But just try enforcing it on the
But there's a big difference between parents and government.
Let's tell that to the government.
Let's actually sometimes tell that to the parents.
PJ, you said you were a socialist until you got your first paycheck?
Yes. I had a kind of shocking experience. I'm sure I'm not alone about this. I was a hippie for a long time, so I didn't really have a job. You know, I didn't really think about this stuff. And then I kind of like the hippie thing. I kind of ran out of steam with the hippie thing, and I was out of money. And I got a job for $150 a week.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Back in 1970, 71, and I got paid every 2 weeks. I'm really looking forward to that $300, and so was my landlord. And I get my pay, and I net out at like $178.31 or something after federal tax and state tax, city tax, Social Security contribution, health care package, pension fund. I was really interested in that at that age, you know, union dues, whatever it was. I net out at about half of what I made. And I said, wait a minute, you know, I'm this political leftist. I've been rioting and screaming and yelling and demonstrating for socialism in this country. And I just found out we have already got it. I just took half my pay.
And you also say giving power to government is like giving whiskey and car keys to teenage boys.
Yeah, not a great idea. Maybe one or the other, but not both at the same time.
All right, more seriously, back to the pollution question. I mean, this isn't a perfect document.
Correct.
At this,
well, it's not
slavery.
Meant to be all our laws.
It's meant to put a confine around the government. It's meant to recognize that there are areas of personal behavior immune from government regulation without bringing someone into court. For example, if I use my speech to harm someone, they can sue me. And a judge will decide, a neutral jury will decide if my rights, the exercise of my rights, have violated someone else's. But for the Congress to write a law saying you can't use those words, that's the government taking my rights away from me without due process, without a trial, without fairness. That makes all the difference in the world.
Following up, John, it was a very interesting point I just came across not long ago. Alexander Hamilton was opposed to the Bill of Rights, which sounds weird. I knew there was opposition to the Bill of Rights. I assumed it came from slave owners. No such thing. You see, people other than ourselves were considered so different from ourselves as to not fall under the law. So they didn't even think of themselves as being hypocritical in the Constitution.
Well, Alexander Hamilton wanted George Washington to be king, and he didn't want us to have states. He just wanted them to be sort of subdivisions of the federal government, which they've become.
His objection to the Bill of Rights was smarter than that. He had some lame objections to the Bill of Rights. But his main objection to the Bill of Rights is if you say the government, you have a right to free speech, that implies that the government has some sort of legal control. Why even bring this up? The government is not being given any tools by which it could possibly limit free speech, and you've just introduced the subject.